Welcome to this edition of the hashtag Let's Get Louder LMF's podcast. It's been a long while, but it was worth the wait because we have two special guests, one a little bit more special than the other, not telling which one. But today we have the Locked On Marlins host, Jeremiah Geiger, and the Marlins AAA first baseman / outfielder, Troy Johnston. How are we feeling this afternoon, boys?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to be here. I love doing podcasts. I love talking about different stuff on, Marlins, Jumbo Shrimp, whatever it is. I love talking baseball. And so I'm excited to be here and, having another podcast with Jeremiah and my first one with Chase. I'm excited to see what you guys have for me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got to talk to Troy last year on the Marlins 9 podcast. I got the role at Locked On, and it's always every conversation I've had with Troy has been great. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. So the first question I always like to ask my guests, Troy, is what got you into baseball? What is the first moment that you remember that really got you into the game?
So what got me into the game was my dad played college baseball for a year at Eastern Washington University, and he had a bat and a tee, and I was probably 2 or 3 years old whenever I could stand, and I was hitting off of that tee for days on end. And they tell me that story over and over again. But for me, I fell in love with baseball when I found out I was a little bit better at that than all the other sports. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played 6 different sports in junior high. I did everything that I could for as long as I could, but I found out that I was a little bit better at baseball, and chasing that feeling of hitting a home run over the fence and getting around the bases. That's a euphoric feeling that I try to chase every time, and that's really when I fell in love with the game.
That's awesome. And what was the first baseball game you ever attended, major league or minor?
Oh man, my dad would know better than I would. So we have 2 different professional teams around us. We have the Tacoma Rainiers, which is the AAA affiliate of the Mariners. And then, of course, we have the Mariners up in Seattle. And I remember pictures of me at the 2001 All-Star game when it was in Seattle. But I don't know if that's the earliest. It could be. But if I'm going to take a bet, it was probably the Tacoma Rainiers in their old stadium.
That's awesome. My first game was on Baltimore Orioles game. I was always a Marlins fan, but I'm a little bit older. So in '93, the Marlins became a team. My brother had some health issues, and we were up in Johns Hopkins a lot. So my first was Baltimore Orioles. I vaguely remember the games, but I do remember the mascot always coming to us at the seats.
I remember. Oh, go ahead, Jeremiah. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say on the first games, it's funny because I just moved to Phoenix. I'll be going to Arizona State, majoring in sports journalism, and the Marlins are in Phoenix, and I'll be covering the games tomorrow and Sunday. But that was the first ever Marlins game I ever saw in person. My dad took me to Chase Field to go see the Diamondbacks and Marlins. So it all comes full circle. Now I move here, and it's kind of cool how baseball works.
That is great. It's always fun. Baseball's a child's game. We all remember it as children, and we grew up in it. And Troy, you keep mentioning hitting home runs and whatnot. What is that euphoric feeling like? Like, what is that like when you get your first ever professional home run? We'll call it.
So I would say a professional home run is more of a sigh of relief because it's like, oh, okay, I got my first one. But because of course you hit them in high school, you hit them in college, you hit them in little league, you hit them in whatever it is. For me, in my little league, we didn't really have a fence. So if you hit it hard enough down the line or in the gap, you're probably just have an inside the park home run. But that euphoric feeling of everything has to line up perfectly to absolutely crush a baseball wherever it is. And it's a feeling off the bat that you chase over and over and over again because you know what the feeling feels like, you know what the swing feels like, you know what the mental feels like. And when you're in a slump, you kind of chase that feeling again and again because you know that that is the correct feeling. And so that euphoric feeling is more of a, okay, I did what I wanted to do when I stepped in the box, because a majority of the time, your goal when you step in the box is not to hit a single. It's to hit a home run if you can. So getting in there and actually accomplishing what you set out to do is that feeling of pride, and watching the ball leave the bat is just unmeasurable, unmatched.
You talk about the sigh of relief after you hit the home run, first professional, and in general, I'm guessing it's a sigh of relief when you are in those slumps. You mentioned chasing as well. Is that why slumps, let's say, last longer because it's overthinking? Like, what are you thinking every time you go in when you're in a slump? What are you thinking? How to get out of it?
Yeah, a lot of it is overthinking, overworking, trying to do too much. And you see guys that will go out of their comfort zone, out of their hot spots, because they're trying to do more, or they were told they needed to do more, or they think they're going to be demoted or promoted, or they just got to get over this hump or do something like this. And so that mental toll that you have during a baseball game and during a baseball season, especially 150, 162 games, you have to be not only really good at doing the little things right, but you have to be really good at minimizing slumps, which means prep work has to be good, mental has to be good, and our approach has to be really good. And if you don't have those three things, that's where the slumps kind of come into effect, and they become more prominent throughout the season.
And what is a day like for you? Let's say it's a 1:30 in the afternoon game. Do they have meals prepared for you? Like what's a home game, we'll call it. Obviously on the road it's a little
Yeah.
different. But on the
So,
road, what's it like?
so would you like to know both on
Yeah,
home
yeah,
and the road?
yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, first.
sure.
Yeah.
So a home game, let's say it's a 7:05. That's what we play in Jacksonville. We're at the field probably at 1 o'clock. We have a lift time that we can get in the weight room. We can work out. We then have early hitting. We can go to early hitting. We then have defense about 3:30, where we do any speed work on the field. We take ground balls, we take fly balls, we do team defense, whatever it is that we're working on that day, just to kind of make sure we're ready and prepared for the game. Then we probably come back in about 4:30. We have a couple hours just to kind of chill, relax, do whatever we need to do. We're probably back in the cage getting ready for the actual game at about 6 o'clock. And of course, game starts at 7. Play the game. It's about 3 hours usually. Done at about 10, home at about 11. So if you really think about it, we're having 10-hour days most days. On the road, it's a little bit shorter because, of course, since we're the home team, we get to do everything on the field first. On the road, we get to do things last. So we show up a little bit later. We probably show up about, if it was a 7 o'clock game, we probably show up about 4, maybe 3:30. And so we have about 3.5 hours, 4 hours. So it's a little bit shorter days, and we have to kind of maximize the time that we're allotted. So it is a little bit different, but the schedule itself doesn't change with the game time. The game time doesn't really dictate the schedule, other than maybe an early game. We come in a little bit later and we just hit in the cage. Other than that, the days are pretty similar, and a lot of it can be kind of like Groundhog's Day.
Totally understand that in the corporate world. It's kind of the same.
Yes.
Come in, check emails, and throughout the day, just
Mhm.
check emails and do like the daily routine of setting your call logs and whatnot.
Mhm.
So
You
that
got it.
everyone fans, right? I'm talking to you like a fan because I am one. So
Mhm.
for when we think about athletes, we don't think about these side things. I don't believe. Like we go, okay, they make this much money, they sign this type of contract, they should be hitting every ball should be hit into a home run or get hits,
Yes.
but they don't. Fans don't understand the game. We think we understand the game, but we really don't. So I kind of want to go in the inside here too, which I appreciate that insight you're giving us
Yeah, of
on,
course.
on what it's like to be a professional athlete. I've been friends with football players, NFL players, OJ McDuffie, some others that you probably won't even know their names. But OJ McDuffie's a former wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins. I have cystic fibrosis, which you signed the
Mhm.
card that's behind me. Thank you for
Yep,
that.
of course.
And I grew up with celebrities speaking at events, so I was very privileged to do that. Now, from you mentioned you figured you were best at baseball, better than any other sport. What other sports did you try?
So I would say if I could rank how good I am at each sport, I'd say probably baseball's 1, golf is number 2, Let's see, I ran track, I wrestled, I played football, and I played basketball. And basketball was by far my worst. As you can tell, I'm not very tall. So I'm more of an aggressive person than I am a finesse basketball kind of type.
You were the defender. You were the
I
guy on
was
defense.
I was the defender. Yes.
Yeah,
I
that's
would
how it
foul.
is.
Yep, I would foul out of just about every single basketball game I was in when I was in junior high.
That's awesome. Jeremiah.
Oh yeah, I got a question. It's going for just so you've been in pro ball for a while now. You've seen
Mhm.
a lot of different pitchers, and I want to know who is the favorite pitcher that you like look back on like I faced that guy. Like, damn, maybe it was, just a rookie in low A or someone in triple A. And then when you make the major leagues, because you're going to, who do you most look forward to facing, like a challenge wise?
That's a really good question. I guess I've never thought about it that way. I would say the pitcher that I look back and I'm like, oh, cool. I faced him was Verlander when we faced
Ooh,
him in
I didn't
spring
know
training.
that.
Yeah, I faced him in spring training. I'm 1 for 3 with a triple and 2 ground outs.
Nice.
So he hung me a slider with 2 strikes, and I love sliders. But I think it would be Verlander, and then of course if I get up there, I would want to. I had a couple friends around the league, different stuff like that, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I do not watch baseball. I have no idea what big league teams are doing. I have no idea
Really?
what's anything's going on. No, I do not watch sports. And we're talking about the ins and outs of baseball. I try to separate myself from my job as much as I can. So I treat this as a job. Baseball is what I do. It's not who I am. If you really ask me who I am, I'm going to tell you I'm a 3 handicap golfer, and I am really good at making an espresso in the morning. And so that when you're asking me about names and different stuff like that, of maybe guys that are play baseball that I'd like to, I have no idea. If you told me the only person that I've really seen is the Rafael Devers trade, that's about it. That I was like, oh,
Really?
that's kind of a big thing.
Well,
I
I've
have,
heard of that. A lot of players do
yes,
that. Like
I could
that's interesting.
I could not tell you who's in first place in any of the leagues. I could not tell you who has the best record. I could not tell you who has the most hits. I could not tell you anything about that other than what's going on with the Jumbo Shrimp right now and how we won the first half. That's about it.
Well,
That's
you do
all I know.
know the Marlins aren't in first place. I'll spoil that for you.
I kind of figured that, but again, I don't. So what I've made a decision this year, I've been, as much as I can, I've been off Twitter. I have been off looking at the MLB app. I've been off looking at everything like that and trying to preserve my sanity as much as
Mm.
possible by looking inward and looking at what I can do better versus what everybody else is doing. And I'm getting a little deep on you. Sorry about that, but it's
No, it's
it's it's
great.
really it's really a common thought of we can't look outward. We can't look forward as baseball players, because the more we look forward, the more things start worrying about us. We talk about putting more pressure on ourselves, doing more, getting into slumps. That's what happens when we're, worried about what the big league team's doing, worried about what the guy behind us is doing, worried about the guy what's next to us is doing. And so if I can check out and not even think about baseball and not focus on baseball, that's when I'm at my best. Like, even, let's see, 2 weeks ago, I had a pretty good last couple of weeks, and I went golfing 4 times in the morning before games. So I would
It's just
just,
like getting those external factors out of your
yes.
peripheral and just
Hmm.
locked in on the current moment. Because
Hmm.
I would imagine, Troy, like you're in AAA. I mean, you've came all the way from low A. You've been in the Marlins organization. You're like any day now. And when you start to think about that, that's where you can get into trouble where, hey, I got a game against Durham tonight. And then you go 0 for 4, and because your mind's all over the place. So it's almost like limiting those distractions, so to speak.
You nailed it. That's 100% right. And I honestly think that was one of the reasons why I had such a down year last year, was because I thought every time that there was going to be an opportunity, I was the guy, and I was never the guy.
Mm.
And so it was really interesting and eye-opening for me, because I truly think it helped me more than anything else, because it showed me how to cope with all that and how to not externalize my thoughts and keep everything where I can control them, and focus on having fun and enjoying my job versus worrying about the guy next to me or the guy ahead of me, which you said it perfectly, Jeremiah.
Now, are you married? I believe you said your wife, so you are married. Do you have any children as well?
I do. We have a brand new baby. She's 2 months old. Her name,
Congrats.
yep, her name is Tatum. She is awesome. I love her with all my heart, and she came at the perfect right time. Um, I would do anything for her, and she is my whole reason why I'm even playing the game and like trying to keep going. Because if not, if I didn't have her, I'd be selling insurance or working sales somewhere.
Well, you have a bunch of fans like myself, like Jeremiah, who are cheering for you every day. You're off the social media. We're not. We're doing our best to have
I
a
know
special
Chase
hat.
isn't.
We have,
Yeah, we know Chase isn't.
I'll
we have
take a break every now and then, but Chase is always on there.
we have a nice hashtag for you set called Free Troy. So when I spoke with some fans, they wanted me to ask, um, what what is it about your game? This was exactly how they worded it. What is it about your game that they should be looking forward to when we are saying when you get that call up?
So I think I take a lot of pride in my game of doing the little things right. I feel like I play hard. I feel like I make the plays that are supposed to be played. I feel like, I mean, it's just in the Marlins organization themselves, I can't promise anything, but I've been on 4 winning teams already. I've won the first half twice in Pensacola, once in Jacksonville, and I won it in Batavia my very first year. So I feel like I bring a good energy into the clubhouse, and I feel like I do the little things right, and hopefully that rubs off on my teammates. And I can give somebody like you guys. You said you're my fans, and you're rooting for me, and I hope I can just keep doing the right things so that you guys can have something to root for.
This season for you, you've stolen 24 bases up to this point, which is a career high, and we're still in June. Has there been like a focused effort on the run game from your perspective? Like, is that something that you've been focused on, or is it just something that's happened? Because you've stolen 20 plus bags before, but I mean, you're on pace for near 40 at this point.
It's funny, that's a common question that's getting asked right now. And it's funny because the front office at the beginning of the year told us, they said, hey, we don't care if you get thrown out. We just want you to have attempts. We just want you to steal. And I'm like, great, I'll steal. No problem. Say less. And so having the freedom and having the ability to do what I've been doing for the last couple of years when I was stealing bags and having the confidence to do it, I think it's the biggest thing. I'm now every time I'm on first or second, I'm looking to steal. Where beforehand it was like, I hope this guy hits a double because then I'll score. It's like, no,
Right.
I'm going to try to score by myself, so I make it easier on the hitter. And I've learned that because we have so many different guys on the team that can steal base as well. And we put so much pressure on pitchers, so much pressure on defenses, and it's so cool to be a part of because it's not only me stealing a bunch of bases. You got Pintar, you got Acosta, you got Marcy, you got all these guys in AAA that are stealing bases all the time. And so we're putting a lot of pressure, and it makes it easier for me to steal bases because I can look at and we can talk about different tips and do all this kind of stuff. It's not just one base stealer on the team. It's everybody's base stealing.
You mentioned Pintar and Marcy. They're newer to the organization. When they came in, did they rely on you to kind of like guide them and lead them?
I don't think so. I did not play with, let's see, I don't think I played with Marcy or Pintar last year at all. So maybe a little bit this year, but I don't know. I'm the veteran guy in the clubhouse here in Jacksonville. I've been here for 4 years. So, maybe guys look up to me, maybe they don't, but I just try to take care of my business and take as many guys that want to come with me as they want.
Who are your best friends? We'll say in the clubhouse.
Ooh, good question. Well, as of right now, I got Monteverde, Robbie, Mervis, Pauly, guys like that. We're all playing cards, playing golf. We got my golf group, which is Monteverde, Seth, and Juice. And then Veneziano's a golfer too. So we're all golfing together and doing that. And then we got our clubby, Pauly, who's awesome. We just have such a great group here. It is very fun to be a part of. How great of a group we have here. They're great people. They're nice people. We have our flaws. We're a family. Everybody's got their flaws. but it is such a great, supportive, positive group of people.
Who's the best golfer out of you guys? And if it's you, say you.
It's going to be between me and Monteverde. Seth
Mm.
is a really, really close second. We'll put it that way. We are all very, very good. Honestly, any of us could win at any day. It's not going to be like one guy's just blowing everybody out. We're all very, very close. I think we're all low or mid to high 70s every time, no matter where we play. So it's fun to be a part of.
That's awesome.
And if you really get to, next time you talk to Cade Gibson, ask him about golf. He's probably, I would say he might be the best golfer. I've never golfed with him, but he's been pretty good.
We may need you to introduce us to some of these other guys.
These other guys.
I write. You're very nice, and I thank you for writing me back on Instagram. But you see, I'm a little bit positive. I try to say nice things to you guys. I don't want to say coach you up because I'm not your coach, right? But I'm a little older. I have a little bit of life experiences, and I kind of feel for some of the situations you guys are put in as players, whether it's either your friends and as you say, family is getting traded sometimes, the business aspect of it, but even when you're struggling a little bit or things just don't go your way. You and Dane Myers are probably the ones that I've been able to converse with the most. But yeah, I may have to have you introduce me to, or at least say to some of these guys, hey, check your DMs, please.
Yeah.
LMF or Chase is writing you guys, and
Yeah.
He's not crazy stalker.
Well, I love it. Well, you probably know this, but Dane and I are very close. So yeah, he's the man, and he's awesome, and he is a ride or die kind of person.
Yeah, he's having a great year. I mean, I talked about this on today's episode, which is just put out. I gave 3 all-star candidates for the Marlins, and it was Kyle Stowers, because Stowers has been awesome, Dane Myers, and Edward Cabrera. It's like with Dane Myers, I've talked about this, and I'm vocal about it because when it comes to having the chance to make my voice heard in terms of the media, oftentimes I want to be the guy putting these tough questions out there. Like Dane Myers should be playing every day. Troy Johnston should be called up. That's just how it is. It's common sense to me. But for whatever reason, the front office does their own thing. It's a very interesting organization. And being that you've been in the organization now for, what now, 5, 6 years, 7? Like it's been 7 years.
Yes, it's my 7th.
What is the changes that you've noticed from when Peter Bendix came into the position of president of baseball operations to the Kim Ng, Michael Hill days? Because there's obviously something going on where it's very analytically driven. Does that affect you in AAA and how you prepare and the team as a whole?
There's definitely some give and take with everything. The front office is very new age. We've had some guys that are set in their ways. We have some guys that are wanting to learn. We have to blend all of that together. And like I said, we're a family. We work all together. We try to do our best to win and put a great product out on the field here with the Jumbo Shrimp. But with the front office, this is the first year in 7 years. And I tell I tell the front office all the time, I say, thank you so much. Whenever I ask, hey, what more can I do? What more do you guys want from me? They actually have a spreadsheet in the locker room every day of our numbers. And it's, chase rate, hard hit rate, xwOBA con, barrel percentage, in zone miss, all these numbers, all these different numbers that you can go to. And they pretty much laid it out for us. And they said, hey, if you have all of your stuff that's green, you're probably due for a promotion. You're probably due for, some kind of recognition, something. Everybody on that list has somewhere that it is red, and it is below average or something. So it lays out exactly what you need to do. And I think that's so cool, because not only do you have to wonder, oh my goodness, when am I going to get called up? When am I going to get traded? When am I going to, do they like me? Where do I stand in the organization? There's a sheet of paper that tells you exactly where you stand. And they tell you exactly every day, every week, where you can get better. And then they come in and they say, okay, this is how we're going to accomplish it. This is how we are going to go about it. This is how we're going to accomplish it. We're going to do these kind of drills. We're going to do this kind of, chase challenge off the machine, something like that. They do all these different things that to try to switch it up and try to get us better every day. They truly do have our best interest in mind. But again, it's baseball. There's not one way to do everything. And it's going to be the way baseball is played in the future. I think they're just some of the first people to do it.
What's the one thing that they've identified to you that you're working on actively right now to try to get to the majors, if there is one?
Yes, right now it is chase rate, and I'm chasing at like 31%, which I think the league average in the MLB is like 29, 28. So I'm slightly above. If I can get that down, great. And then I want to say, what was the other one? Zone mesh, chase, walk rate. That's it. And so really those two are correlated. If I chase less, I walk more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If I chase less, I walk more. So because I've been chasing more, which again, I'm getting some hits on balls and, different stuff like that. So that takes it into account. But if I lower my chase, I walk more, and then I can fill up my rows, and I can make them, above average in AAA, in the big leagues, whatever it is, based on the numbers. And then I have a compelling argument, to just say,
I see that, but I just think it's a very strange way to look at it, because that's eye-opening. I didn't know that. I mean, I knew everything was based on numbers and the spreadsheets, but when I look at the major leagues, there's clear players who don't follow a traditional model. Like Luis Arias, Marlins fans will know him. Luis Arias will swing at anything, literally anything, and he'll put the barrel on the ball, and sometimes it's an out, sometimes it's a hit. I think his walk rate's about 5%. So, like, if Luis Arias was a prospect in AAA Jacksonville right now, they'd be looking at that and say, well, you're not going to get a call up. Like, I don't know. I feel like it has to be tailored to each player, because the way you play the game, Troy, is a lot different than somebody like Jacob Marcy, who is extremely fast, plays elite defense, but also has the walk rate way up here. It's a different profile, offensive profiles. I like using those terms a lot.
Yeah, profile. Yeah. And to rebuttal to your point about Luis Arias, we talk about this all the time. We talk about this ex-WOBA. We talk about like what's the probability of them getting a hit? And Luis Arias hits the ball consistently at like 70 to 80 miles per hour at like 10 to 20 degrees. And that probability of a hit, like dropping it in front of the outfield, is so high. If he started hitting the ball harder, he would not hit 330. He would not hit 350. He'd hit 200. And so because of his profile, he is almost looking to hit the ball off the end of the bat or square it up on a line drive where he can just dump it over. And when he gets his pitch, he's going to pull it down the line and he's going to hit a home run. But he doesn't do that very often. That's not, like, we're talking about his profile. He's a traditional guy that just makes contact, and he makes contact in the right way, where it's either really soft or really hard. And right when he gets in that middle point, that's when you're going to see him struggle. But that's not his game. That's not what he focuses on.
Exactly.
With the way the Marlins lately, at least in the bigs, have done it, I'm not sure if they do the same in Jacksonville, where they have changed the lineup. Let's say there's been 65 games. I know there's been a little more, but they've changed the lineup almost every day. In a game of repetition, where I always hear there's always superstitions, like you guys have to put your socks on a certain way and whatnot. In a game of repetition, does that affect you guys where you are in the lineup? Does that matter that much to y'all?
No, not really. I know if I'm batting fifth and below, I'm probably going to get 4 at-bats. If I'm batting fifth and above, I'm probably going to get 5 at-bats. So that's probably the only difference, really. That's it. The actual repetition, I think about it differently. I think if I'm hitting 3, 4, 5, 6 compared to 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, I'm going to treat those two differently. So 1, 2, 7, 8, 9, you're going to get a lot more fastballs. They're going to try to challenge you because, of course, that's where you're hitting in the order. But if you're hitting 3, 4, 5, 6, you're probably going to have runners on base. They're probably going to try to get you to roll over, double play. They're probably going to get you off the plate, try to get yourself out. So there's two different approaches on kind of how to go about hitting in a certain spot in the order, just based on how pitchers pitch, the situation of the game, like situations that will come up based on the order that you're in. Because like if you're hitting first, like I have been the last couple, I'm hitting with nobody on a lot. And so I'm looking for a good pitch to hit. And if I walk, great. If I'm hitting 4, 5, 6, I usually have guys on second and third, bases loaded. I have guy on a first and second. I have people in front of me. And so I have to be more selective, and I have to kind of sit different pitches. I have to think about the scouting report, think about what they're trying to do, how they're going to attack me, lefty, righty, sinker, slider, different stuff like that. And so approaching the lineup is just a little bit different just based on where you're hitting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's baseball.
Great answer. I love the terms you talk in because, again, as a fan, this is stuff I don't think of. And I know we're pressed for time. You've given us a half hour, and I thank you for that.
Of course.
My term is let's get louder. Can I get a let's get louder from you?
Let's get louder.
Awesome. Appreciate your time today, Troy. I hope that you do this again with us. It's been a pleasure having you. Anything to finish up with on your end, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for you, Troy. You know that. You deserve to be up there. I know you're too professional to say it, but it should have been you a lot of times this season. But keep doing the good work, and your chance will come, and we're all rooting for you over here.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I know we could have talked for another hour and a half, but I really appreciate you guys even sneaking me into on the podcast. I had so much fun. Thank you guys very much, and let's get louder.
Much love, Troy. Have a great day. Good night, and much love to the family. Appreciate you very much.
Love it. Have a good one, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. This has been an episode of Let's Get Louder, brought to you by InTheClutch.com. You can always get the Let's Get Louder t-shirts that support cystic fibrosis at InTheClutch.com. Use code LMF at checkout for a 12% discount. We'll see you soon. And remember, let's go Marlins. Let's frickin' go.